Hello, hello, hello. Happy Sunday. I hope you're having a beautiful day wherever you are in the world. And thank you so much for pressing play on today's video. I have a lot I want to say today, so I brought my notes with me. So if I'm looking down, I actually think that you can see my notebook in the frame, so you'll know that's what I'm referring to. But today I want to make a video dedicated to people who are thinking about quitting their jobs to be a full-time creative. Was my 1 year anniversary of doing that when I guess it was October 1st. And I have a lot of thoughts about this. First and foremost, I want to say, and I wish that I listened to other people who said this when I was considering what I was doing and also just like being a creative while having a full-time job. You're not any less of a creative just because it's not the thing that you do for a living, just because you don't generate income from it, just because you have another job. Like that does not make you any less of a creator, of a creative, of an artist. And I want you to really like hear me and believe that because it's true. And the second thing I want to say is I'm just so grateful that I had the opportunity, or that I'm currently doing this, that I was in a place where I could step away from my job and explore being a creator full-time. It's something, and I've mentioned this before, that I've tried a couple of times, and I let my fear and self-doubt and just like, to be honest, my financial situation, like I couldn't sustain it for a while. And this is the longest I've ever done it. I'm extremely proud of myself. And I just know that like just having the privilege of being able to explore my art and making videos as a career is that it's a privilege, and I never ever want to take that for granted. I know there's a lot of content out there that's like, you know, I took the leap of faith and I was immediately rewarded. And I do think for a lot of people, depending on your situation, how hard you were working before you made the transition, it can happen that quickly. But for some of us, dogs barking, myself included, it takes a long time. It's not like I left my job and brand deals were immediately flowing in, especially if you're trying to do this in an ethical way and you're not trying to take I don't know if you can hear the dogs on camera. If you're not trying to take every opportunity that comes your way and you want to stay true to what you stand for, what your brand stands for, this will take some time. And that's not to discourage you. I just want to provide another perspective for people who are doing this. And I don't want you to feel like this isn't for you if it does take time, because that's how I felt before. That's why I quit those other times, because it didn't happen quick enough for me. And I felt like that was a sign that maybe I wasn't ready to do it. And that's not to say that I regret quitting my job. I don't think that I would have the motivation that I have right now if I was still leaning on my full-time gig. And I've learned a lot about myself, how I create, the environments that I work best in, what I really want to dedicate my time to, because I've been in control of my time. I just wanted to put that out there because I feel like more times than not, I see a lot of content that's like, oh my God, all these things happened because like I trusted the universe, and like it just isn't always that easy. And I also will add that I decided to leave my job knowing that I wasn't in a profitable position. Like I think a lot of people wait until they're making as much as they were making at their full-time jobs, not more. And I didn't do that. I was like, I'm ready and I'm gonna figure it out. And so I think that's how I differ from a lot of people as well. Like a lot of YouTubers that I'm watching, they stayed at their job until they felt comfortable with what they were making as a creator. And I just like, I know eventually I will get there, and I didn't want to wait anymore. I also think because of the industry that I worked in, I have been working around creators since the beginning of my digital career 10 years ago. And so for me, it was like, I was watching all of these people do this thing that I've always wanted to do, but was too afraid to. And I finally was just like done being afraid. And so that's kind of why I didn't wait. I was just like, I think if I had worked in a different environment and I wasn't so close to digital and always watching creators just like flourish around me, I maybe would have taken a different approach. But like, yeah, it was kind of torturous watching all these people do this thing that like I know that I can do. And And I'm honestly super grateful for that. Like, I'm glad that I could see up close, like, so many people making their dreams come true. And that pushed me to invest in my dreams. And something I would advise you to do before you make this transition is to take time developing your systems. Like, I did a little bit of this, but I wish I had have dedicated more time to just like figuring out how you work, what your routine is going to look like, what your filming schedule is going to look like, and also get focused. I think at the beginning of this, I was doing so many different things. I was working on a podcast, I was working on my pilot, I was trying to figure out which platform I wanted to dedicate the most time to. Then I created a course, and I was doing so many things instead of just like focusing on YouTube, which is what I did this for. And now I'm like focused, but I wish that I had have like been more focused from the beginning. And I think it's a good thing to try out different formats and like figure out what you want to invest your time in. And I think because I did all those things before, I know for sure that like creating videos, being on YouTube, being on TikTok, short form, long form, like that is what I want to invest my energy in. I just like wish I maybe had have done the testing earlier so that like when I left my job, I knew where I wanted to pour all my energy into. And something you absolutely have to do, there's no question about this, it will drive you crazy if you don't, is you have to leave the comparison at the door. You just have to. We are all on our own journeys, figuring out like our own paths. No two paths will be the same, especially in this industry, because it's so new. We're still trying to figure out how to do things. Like, you cannot compare yourself to other people's journeys. You have to like realize that you probably don't even want the same things that you are jealous of. Like, your path is so unique, and you can't get discouraged because someone else who's in a completely different niche and lane than you is accomplishing things like ahead of you. Your time is coming, I promise you. And the only way that we can fail is if we quit. That's the only way. We have to keep going, even if it takes a long time, even if things don't pan out the way that you envisioned them before you stepped away from your job, even if the opportunities aren't flowing in, you can't quit. I mean, you can quit if you want, but like if you want to succeed in this, you just have to keep going. You have to keep trying new things. You have to keep showing up and staying committed to this. I've really enjoyed this past month of being consistent, showing up on YouTube every day, whether that's short form or 3 times a week with my long form videos. It feels good to be developing this practice. And I guess the last thing I want to say is you can do this. You can do this. You have done much more difficult things in your life. You will figure this out. Like I said, the only way you can fail is if you quit. Let me know in the comments below if you have any other questions about making this transition. I would love to be a resource and help you in any way that I can. I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you for showing up for me. Thank you for being patient with me. And as always, thank you for being here.